How's it going, folks? Welcome back to my channel. This has been one of the craziest days I've supported Celtic, and you know what? There's a crisis at the club. There's a divide now between the fans, as we've seen today. 2 wins out of 10. We're going to go into a game on Thursday in the San Siro War like we're going to get beaten. Where does it sit with Neil Lennon? Like everyone is saying right now on social media that he has to walk. There's none of this backing anymore from the fans that say, have the faith, this is going to be changed around. He has to go. And the protest today, out straight, which is, I don't think it should have happened, because we're in a pandemic. I know people want to voice their opinion and feel frustrated, but the way some fans reacted today was out of hand. It gives a bad name for the club because we're known worldwide for having a fantastic fan base. We'll go back to 2003 when 90,000 went to Seville and we won the FIFA Fair Play Award for the fans being unbelievable. Where's that sitting now with Celtic fans, where we're basically attacking our own club? Understand people have to go out and protest, but there's a not a trouble protest, and then there's one where you literally start ripping railings down, and I don't call that portion of people fans. You know, I think, yes, he has done a lot in his career as a player and a manager for Celtic, but this season he hasn't shown up. He hasn't won any of the big games. We've knocked out the Champions League. We've been knocked out of the Europa League. We've got beaten by Rangers. We've dropped points, the teams that we should have been beaten. And our players are not playing for him. They don't want to play for the shirt. Edouard is on terrible form for us. You know, he's tried every formation he can for the club. He went to 3-5-2 today. He brought Barkas back in goal. A team like Ross County going in there and beating us. I know a lot of us had in the back of our mind saying this could actually happen. We could actually get knocked out of the Betfred Cup after 35 games of playing in these cup competitions. Eventually, it's gone down the drain now. And it's upsetting. It's upsetting that we're basically, you could call it a civil war between our own fans. There's a portion of it that will stick up, and then a portion that majority of us will say, no, look, he has to walk. And his interview after the game, even with Celtic Fan TV and Sky Sports, he just I don't think he realises how bad this has gone, how disgraceful this is, you know. So yeah, get your comments in. Andy Unkeith, by the way, if you haven't looked at the page, I'd say, you know, it's this is something bad, really bad. As I said, I didn't support Celtic in the 90s. I've come out and said this loads of times. I wasn't into football as a kid, but from this era of football that we've had 9 glorious years to come down to this, where fans are going absolutely crazy. It's crazy, you know. Management needs to be required. This is the best time to do it now. We have a week to prepare until the St. Johnstone game to get it together. It really is. It's a kind of stage where the board are being stubborn and they don't realise. Lawwell was there looking at the game today. You've seen the camera angles of him. And what happens? He just literally just sits back. People are just gonna lose complete faith. And I'm looking at this at the moment. I said last night, I said if we can go out there today, win the game, bit of passion. There's no plan B. Literally, Ross County had every man behind the ball, which you would anyway at Celtic Park. And we had 2 shots on target. 2 shots on target. Like, Julian's going to take a while to get back to the level he is. And there's no ambition there. And it's saying, if the body language is saying it from the players, that they can't play for him. They can't play for Neil anymore. And it's truly embarrassment. It's embarrassing for us as a club, as a fan base, to see this going on and dragging on. As I said last night before this even happened today, where another twist in the whole saga, that if we can get a result today, build momentum domestically and go into the new year, bit of confidence. But I can't see that happening under Neil Lennon. I really believe it's just getting worse and worse. And if there's a portion of Celtic fans out there that can realise this and say, oh, Keith, we've been through worse, like, this is a different era of football. You know, he's not a man manager anymore. He can't get players up for a game against Ross County in the League Cup at home at Celtic Park. So what makes you think that he's going to get them up for a game against St. Johnstone in the league, or the Scottish Cup final on the 20th, or a game in Ibrox on the 2nd of January, what makes you think it's going to change then, So I'm going to go through your comments. I really appreciate you watching tonight. It's tough coming on to this. Obviously, I just went out, had a walk, had to think about what the hell is going on, but it's clearly the coaching staff, it's the board, and the board are being stubborn and they won't make that change. Is it down to financial reasons? Why do you won't make the change? Do they think they can actually go out and break the bank and get someone like the likes of Eddie Howe in or Rafa Benitez? Like there has to be someone out there that could come in and stir the ship, because 10 in a row is not over and done with. It's not over and done with. It can be. We still have 2 games in hand, potentially 3 games in hand with the cup final. And as I said, no words myself. I'm absolutely shocked. I was shocked. I knew there was going to be protests. I understand. Like I said, majority of people want to go to Celtic Park and voice their opinion, but the ways that it was conducted today by a portion of fans, it's just disgraceful. It was more. Some fans look like hooligans than anything else. Like, this is our own stadium. Like this wasn't even a derby game, and this was going on. Like, imagine this drags onto a derby game. What's it going to be like then? It's deteriorating. The morale, confidence. Where is it gone? Like, as I said, we have no plan B in that team, and deep down inside, we know we have winners there to go out and win titles, but we're a long shot away from it. And so obviously changes need to be done. Changes need to be done in January. Bringing more players. Change the management first of all. Put Kennedy in the taxi. Put Strachan in the taxi, and put Lennon in the taxi as well, because surely he must know deep down inside that this is enough now. If he had the respect and dignity, he'd walk away from it, resign, and just leave it, because he's tried what he can and it hasn't worked out. As I said, the big games tells everything. We lose Champions League qualification, that's 30 million down the pot. We've been smashed around in Europe by a team that didn't even have a full squad in their 2 games. Sparta Prague, 8-2 in aggregate. Fair enough, we got beaten by AC Milan, they're a good team, but it's just absolutely embarrassing. It really is. And getting beaten in the cup by Ross County, and Ross County, they defended well. They got us on the counter attack, and that second goal that went in, oh God, absolutely disgusting. It was just brutal. It's just as I said, I don't like to see anyone lose their job, but the way it's gone, the journey this season, the way it's gone, he has to walk. And there's been spells and spells, and I've had arguments there. My friend Caitlin Gibson, good friend of mine, we've had falling outs over it, saying that she believes that Neil can change it around, and the spells are coming and coming, and you got to respect people that had faith, but the faith is gone. It's gone now, and I don't think anyone in the clear mind can believe that he can turn this around now, because today was an example where he had to go out, get a win, even bring it to extra time and get it over the line. Very similar to what happened last season with Dunfermline. We went to extra time and we got over the line. But a club like Celtic, paying the highest wage bill in Scottish football, as I said last night, they're paying a bigger wage bill than Sheffield United, Leeds, and there's another club as well in the Premier League combined together, Burnley combined together. It's absolutely ridiculous, mental. So keep the comments going. Appreciate you watching on Twitter. Appreciate you watching on YouTube as well, and Facebook. I'm going to try to get someone on tonight and have a chat about the whole thing, because it is absolutely shambolic, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. Certainly welcome. I'm not going to argue with you over. I'm not going to say you're mad or this and that. We're all Celtic fans. We all love the green and white. Do you know what really upset me today the most was when that second goal went in. I don't know if it's either on the same boat as me. Lennon's just looking at Strachan, and Strachan's looking at a laptop. What has that to do with getting the players, getting the team motivated for the last couple of minutes of the game and try to sneak one back? It's not Monday Night Football. You don't have the screen there and start going through formations and how you can see it. You just go out and start screaming at the players and get them to push up. No urgency there. You bring McGregor on, didn't do it. Laxall, that was probably Laxall's worst game, but he's been great since he came in so far. and it was just absolutely shocking, you know. Paul, how are you getting on? That's it, like, and I want to know his honest opinion. Like, be out straight with me, the 2 years or 200 years. Say, tell me how straight do you really think that can this? Do you really think in the back of our, in your mind and your heart that we can do 10 in a row? I know, I know we can do 10 in a row, but not under Lennon. I've accepted it now, and I've accepted from today. I am not going to pick up from. As I said, he's been a great servant for the club over the 20 years, as a player, as a coach, as a captain, as a manager his first term. I just think the spells are coming against Rangers last year in the cup final where they sussed them. They sussed the team. We could have been beaten that final. And then the last three Glasgow derbies, we were sussed. And then the same in European standards, we just haven't been good. And it's just absolutely. And what's going to happen is if change is not going to be made soon, these protesters are going to continue and continue. And there's going to be bitterness between our own supporters, which is absolutely heartbreaking to see. That's the thing, and that's the worrying thing, Ian. That's the worrying thing tonight. Who can we sell this product to? Like a big name like an Eddie Howe or Rafa Benitez. Like today, them protests won't store the ship the way to get someone like that in because people are looking at it like, oh Jesus, Lennon's going through that. Imagine if I fail, what I go through, you know? That's it. It's just crazy. Short term solution. If I was looking at it now, I'd get someone in till the end of the season, and then maybe get someone building process after that because it's just absolutely madness. As I say, yeah, we all appreciate people's anger and frustration, and everybody's in the right to be frustrated. But there's a different manner of doing it, like knocking down railings and screaming for his head off and all. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, you know. Mark, how's it going? You know, I think his mental health will be up the wire. I don't think he'll ring. I don't think he'll actually be able to sleep for the next couple of days after that. You know, he's probably enemy number one to Celtic fans in these eyes now. 90% of us will look at it and think, you know. I completely agree. I don't know what it is. You know, I really believe that they're being stubborn about this, and I don't know if it's just Desmond's afraid to fork out the money. Maybe they're realising, oh Jesus, we've taken a hit since we've no fans in the stadium. With general ticket sales is down. I know with the season tickets we're all sold out for Pass for Paradise, but maybe it's that case as well. Maybe they realise, oh, not qualifying for Europe as well is that they're putting us down a few more million quid as well, like 30 million down the drain, and then you're not getting into the last 22 of the Europa League. That's another 2 to 3 million as well gone. And then they're at the forking out 18 million since January. Klamala has only scored, what, 6 goals, 7 goals since he's been at the club. Yates has scored about 4 or 5 goals. It could be 6, actually. And Barkas hasn't settled. Sorrow's not getting football. Turnbull, he's not getting a chance. I know he had COVID. You know, it's just Duffy hasn't worked out for him. There's reports saying he could be going back down the road to Brighton. It's just, is it a case that Neil Lennon's scouting these players, or is it another Lawwell job where they're going out and they're scouting these and it's not working out? Because there has been good signings in the first term of Neil Lennon, but the second term there hasn't been many. Fringpong, that's about it. That speaks out to me, you know. How's it going, Maggie? Thanks for watching on Facebook. I'll obviously, when I pin the comment, I'll say where you're watching from. Is obviously the YouTube and the Twitter stuff is there. Players ain't given the best shambles of a club. Keep their effing wages and they will soon show up. See, that's the thing. Like, that's if you were put these players on strike, you don't want to see, because I've seen clubs in the past where players haven't been paid and it just causes an absolute shambles. I wouldn't dock their wages. I just think out straight. It'd be cheaper to just get someone in. Just pay Lenny off whatever he has. He's on a rolling contract. Pay him off. Get someone in. And that's what the scary point is. Who do we get? Who do we get? Who do we get to think that could do this? Tender road that could guide us. There is sacrifices. As I said, Europe's down the drain. Betfred Cup's down the drain. We're not confident going into the Scottish Cup. We need to build morale. We need to build a winning mentality. And Hearts are not going to be a walkover. They're not going to be a walkover at all. Every club now that plays Celtic home or away can take Celtic. They're not afraid to take Celtic, and they proved today Ross County had a plan. They worked, they got the goals, and that's it. That's it. Exactly, you're right there. I think it's the images today is not going to make a good example of trying to sell a manager's role to anyone outside, like a Benitez or a Eddie Howe or a Thomas Frank. It's even talks of Mark Hughes being linked with the job. I wouldn't take Alan Stubbs. I was listening to Alan Stubbs today in Premier Sports. Not a chance. Fair enough, he won the Scottish Cup with Hibs and all, but no. If I was going for this, if I was really, really serious, and I think the board should be really serious about this 10-year-old project, we go for aim high. Aim high. I'm not talking about a Pochettino, because Pochettino's not going to come to Celtic. You have to aim high. And if you can't get them managers, you can't sell the product to them with European football gone after Christmas. Potentially, you don't have a chance to win the treble. You could win the quad treble from last season, but it's crazy. It's crazy to think it's the way it's gone. Look, we're gonna get the opposition team on this night laugh and saying, "Oh, this is great to watch." But you know what? We've had 9 glamorous years. Not only Seth will win the league, like they'll qualify for the Champions League next season. Celtic have to destroy themselves from the inside, really hit the bottom. Back over these 10 years. Yeah, look, it's not over yet. We just need to change the manager and get back on the horse and start believing. That's all we need to do. And at the moment, with people not going to the stadiums, that's their way of today expressing it, being outside, and it just went overboard. I felt, fair enough, the police was there, and someone said there in the comments that is a case that Neil would need police presence. Like, how embarrassing does that look? That he needs police presence for his own fans. That's absolutely disgraceful. Like, we shouldn't even be talking at this level. That's how crazy things have gone. Like, it's just absolutely mind blowing. Gianni, how are you keeping? Sorry about the link. I didn't think it was going to work for you.
It's okay. It took me a while to figure it out, but it's all right.
Right, I'll let you talk about this.
This is something that I think we've all known for quite a while. Listen, Lenny's done a great job for us. He came in. Brendan Rodgers left an amazing team, an invincible team, a team that weren't getting beaten. They were winning every game and winning it by far. And he came in and he took off where he left off, where Brendan left off, and. This season has just not worked. The team are not working for him. He's been let down by the players. I do believe the board backed them, and they did spend money. We spent a ton of money.
18 million since the start of the year.
It's not the board. It's just, listen. Sometimes you get great managers. If it doesn't happen, Mourinho would never have been out of job. Or Alex Ferguson, they would have always been in the same job over and over again. Ancelotti, Leapy, a ton of folk. So the reality is, with him getting, if it doesn't work, that's just what happens in cycles of managers. They have to change, and familiarity breeds contempt. He's got too many players that he's familiar with, he's friendly with. So the reality is, it's just not working under Lennon. And if he's a true Celt, which we know he is, he should have walked weeks ago. And maybe he was asked to stay, encouraged to stay. But the reality is he needs to go now. He needs to walk, and it's better to walk than be pushed. And I hope he walks, because I don't want him to be pushed.
I think after the Rangers game, it just showed, and he keeps saying the same excuses all the time. Bad performance, and then throwing the players under the bus and all. It's shocking.
Listen, a captain. This is an unfortunate thing. You want to be in charge, you're responsible. If you're irresponsible and the team's performing poorly, you've got to put your hands up and say, my fault, I can't get him to work, so I'm going to leave. And that's what he has to do. And he's a legend at Celtic. But in order for him to stay a legend, he has to resign this week. He has to. I mean, I don't want to hear people saying, oh, the league is what's important to us. Because we couldn't win the league. We tried. But it was handed to us. We couldn't win it. We can't beat Ross County at home. In fact, it wasn't like it's a 1-goal defeat. It's a 2-goal defeat. I mean, the reality is we get absolutely whipped in Europe. We did more damage getting into Europe than no getting into Europe because our reputation gets smashed.
And I said that to you literally the last time we talked. I said, well, I'd rather us not be in Europe because it's going to hit us back in the face. And I did.
Mate, for us to get beat by Ferencváros to a Champions League spot is a disgrace. It doesn't matter if they're playing well or not. We beat Lazio like home and away. The fans deserve better. They just do. They deserve better. And I get it. COVID's changed everything. There's no fans to support you. But the reality is it doesn't matter. If you're a better player, whether it's tennis, whether it's football, whether it's skier, you should be able to outperform these people that are less than you week in, week out all the time. That's why Lewis Hamilton wins all the Formula Ones. That's why you have tennis players like Federer that win most of the tournaments. Like, if you're a better player, and our finances dwarf every Scottish team. Every Scottish team. They're over nearly double what Rangers' our wage bill is.
64 million they're in debt at the moment, but at the moment it looks like it's gonna take a miracle to get to the level being top of that table again with the games in hand and playing them 3 times.
Mate, the reality is this: listen, we put the fans deserve a say, and they've been saying it for weeks. Now, nobody loves the club more than its fans. That's a harsh reality. Nobody knows the club more than its fans. And when they don't listen to the fans, and with all due respect to the board, they backed Neil Lennon this summer. They did. They backed him to a T. They spent money during COVID with a big question mark over their heads. That's just the reality. It's not the board. Lenny has to realise he's just steered the club to the worst record in 50 years. Since 1958, I sent you this. Celtic have not lost 4 consecutive home games. It's atrocious. This is another Inverness Cali disaster as well under Barnes. That Ross County is just as bad as that. I mean, can it get any worse?
It can't get worse because if the board don't react soon and get a man in that we convinced that can do it, it is going to get worse. Like, fair enough. With Thursday, we're looking at a defeat. I can't see us going to the San Siro no matter what team we put out. I just don't believe we can do it.
I don't even think we shouldn't even send a team to San Siro, honestly, because we just embarrass ourselves.
Forfeit the game.
Honestly, forfeit it. Other teams have forfeited their games because of COVID. Just forfeit the game. Who cares? We can't beat Ross County at home. It's just terrible. But we've been calling for this. I put up a tweet the other day and I had to take it down. I mean, it's just we've known that he's just not cutting it at Celtic at all. Not this season. 100%.
You can see in his face, even with Friday when he done the press conference Friday morning, you could just see that he's just distraught. And I think him and Kennedy have just fell out big time. There's not a team, a building, a coaching.
No, I agree, and it's frustrating for him, and it's sorry to see him reduced to what he is right now. I feel sorry for him. I love him and I love Martin Riley. I love them both, and it's horrible to see what he's been reduced to right now. And that's why he needed to walk away. You don't want to get pushed, and if he walked away weeks ago, maybe we could have salvaged something. We're handing Rangers a treble this year. We're handing them a treble. It's ridiculous. It really is. And it's frustrating.
The painful thing is, if they were to win the league, they'll go straight into the Champions League next season. That's how bad it is. It could hurt Celtic as a club financially as well. That's 30 million. Like, fair enough, we'll have a second chance if we were to finish second place. If we were to finish second place, we're not guaranteed that that's right. I think he's not strong with Bruni anymore. You can't see that leadership between him and Bruni there. I think they fell out after the Ferencváros game.
Mate, if you're looking after kids, I've got 2 kids, and if I'm looking after the kids and the kids aren't listening to me, I put my hands up, say, I can't do this anymore. I'm not getting through. Somebody else step in, and I'll say to Amanda, can you? The reality is this: if Lennon doesn't have control over his players, and he can't get them to do what he wants them to do in his head, then we don't fire 11 players. We fire and get a new manager, someone who can deal with it better and fix it. I'm trying to get away from the sun.
It's just it literally it's big just to talk about, because we got to the stage where we can't be confident going to games anymore. As I said, that Celtic team with 4 or 5 nils wins against any club in these competitions is gone, regardless what you feel. And I feel sorry for Barkas, I really do feel sorry for him. And Steve Woods is a good goalkeeping coach, but what is going on is the case that Lennon has came out and said that some of these players that came in summer haven't settled. Well, it's up to
We had
him.
a team before they settled, but we had a team before they came. But we're getting beat by Ross County. You've got to understand the size of Celtic compared to these clubs. We're not getting. It's not about we lost to Rangers or we lost to another team with a fair, decent size of finances and resources. We're getting beat and humiliated by clubs. We're playing awful, but our play's just terrible. It's not as if we had 10 crossbars and 10 posts and had 4 goals chopped offside when they were all inside. That wasn't the case. We're
Two shots on target all game
against Ross County at home. The difference is this: if we were in the stadium, they would have got booed off the park. That's the truth.
I don't think it would have been last. I don't even think it would have lasted this long, to be honest with you. I think it would have been gone.
No chance. And the way they handled Lennon tonight and some of the chants they were singing outside the park, I think is totally wrong. He needs to be given respect because he has served us well, but now's the time for him to prove himself as a true Celt and to say, right, time to leave.
It's who would you bring in personally? Who do you think would you bring in?
I mean, we had a 2-week international break. I honestly thought the board were finding someone during those 2 weeks. I just hope they haven't been sleeping and now it's just a scramble. But I'm sure our hierarchy will be able to find someone quick. The surprises with Brendan Rodgers, I'm sure they'll surprise us now.
Well, I was watching it Monday Night Football with Eddie Howe, and he doesn't seem interested of getting back into management anytime soon. And I don't think we can sell the Celtic till to him at the moment. What's happening today?
No, but there's plenty managers that are out there, European managers. Do you know what I mean? There's plenty of them. I mean, plenty of managers will want to step in. They know Celtic have got the resources, they've got the fan base. They're in Europe every season, so they can prove themselves, and it gets them on the map. Plenty managers. I just, the whole thing about tonight at Celtic Park was, for me, it's disgraceful scenes just because we're living in the times, of COVID, and life's are at stake, so football doesn't come first. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you've got to remember the people that have served the club well, and that goes from people working at the ticket office, from people working in hospitality, so many folk that are there that serve Celtic really well and make it such a great place to visit. And, the players, it's just not working. It happens. It happens at Man U, it happened at Tottenham, it happens at all big clubs. Milan was one of the greatest clubs in Europe at once upon a time, and then it just collapsed.
2007, they were unbelievable.
They got the wrong managers in, and that's what happened. And when managers don't click, sometimes it's just finished and it's over. So the reality is, what happened tonight, that was out of line. But I think now Celtic know how the fans are feeling. They can't switch off from the fans. Do
you think it's a stage where Brownie needs to step in and say, look, Lawwell, something has to be done?
I mean, I think somebody's got to step in. I mean, it's got to be done at some point.
They should have gave Johan the job back. And I know Johan was interviewed on Friday night with 4-star, and he's been asked twice in the last 6 weeks, would he take the job back as a coach, and he killed for the back.
I mean, he won back.
I just think it's a case where John has the security. I think it's a sympathy vote when it comes across with John Kennedy. He's been on the coaching staff 16 years. Yes, he's been there. He's won trebles with Brendan. He done it with Ronnie. He won a couple of titles with Ronnie. But at this stage,
why would we want him though? He's not a manager. He's an assistant. That's the reason he's an assistant coach. He's not a manager. Celtic, send him to Ross County.
That's it.
To be a certain stature, you have to be up there. We don't deserve to have, this is somebody's chance to make a play or a name for yourself. It's not.
And it'd be a shambles if they were to go for a manager and the manager wasn't allowed to bring in their own staff and he stuck with Strachan and Kennedy. It'd be a worse situation. We need, if we're going out to get a manager, we're going to have to get the team. We're going to have to get the assistant manager, defensive coach, possibly a goalkeeping coach. Stephen Woods has to be replaced.
I just think at the end of the day, we need a real manager and an experienced real manager who's won trophies.
People are saying in the comments Jack Ross. I don't think Jack Ross has established himself enough to be the Celtic manager.
I don't know. But here, if you think Jack Ross isn't, then we definitely can't be talking about guys like John Kennedy. We deserve better.
Yeah, and I think there'd be more there if Lennon was to resign tomorrow and Kennedy would have to go to the San Siro or go on Sunday to put the team out against St. Johnson. You're looking at 3 or 4 times the crowds outside Celtic Park. Then tonight,
mate, we need drastic changes, and we've been calling that for weeks and weeks and weeks. So the reality is new manager, somebody with a bit of a pedigree, please. I don't want to go after the Ronnie Dahlias of the world and take the gambles. It's just, it needs to be done fast. And
there's that fear, don't it? Is it they're going to go for cheap option to do it, or they'll stick by him? And you can't, like, in a case that the fans were in the stadiums, I don't even think we'd be getting about 10,000 people, 10,000 fans if there was no COVID. This situation we're in, it'd be empty stadiums. And you've seen what happens with Ronnie in spells with Ronnie's term. Stadiums were in full, and especially with Mowbray as well. I got to that stage as well.
Jeez, man, to think that Mowbray never lost 4 games at home consecutively kind of frightens you. I mean, when we get beat by Ross County tonight, did it not remind you when we get beat by Inverness?
Worse. This was worse tonight because you knew the stakes were high on the roll that we're on. Like the Inverness game was a different because we were actually doing well last season, but it was horrible. Like that goes down. So that result goes down worse than the Rangers result because they knew the stakes were high and Ross County's not at the level that Rangers are.
Yeah,
it was just hard to take, but we need to move forward as fans. We can't stop thinking. We're just quick enough to criticise and all the negativity, the faults that's going on with the club. We've tried every formation. We've tried majority of players. I don't know why young Dembele's not getting a run. Forrester has to come back. Chris Julian looks like he's still rusty as hell. Duffy, he more like he's going to be back down the road in January.
Can you name 3 Ross County players?
I can't.
I can't. So even though we're missing Forrest and we're missing Julian, the reality is this.
Stewart, I think.
Celtic players, but we can't name 3 Ross County. The difference is because we have international players, quality players, and they don't. So there's no excuse to get beat. There's obviously something fundamentally wrong between the manager and the team. I mean, the body language in Neil has been atrocious. It's deflated. It's been terrible to watch. It's been horrible to watch. I mean, you think about it, you get managers like Conte who run up and down that byline and kicking bottles of water when they're upset or when they're happy and jubilant.
Just go back to the game.
Sometimes off of him.
Just go back to the game when we beat Hearts, his first game back, when he took charge of the team, literally less than 24 hours. I was looking at the pictures of them today to now. Like, he just completely looks a different person. He's at the pulling the weight on. He just looks pale in the face. There's something going on there. And I don't know if a case that we might say, oh, because Damien Duff went. Damien Duff went because he was offered the Ireland contract. He wanted a different aspect in his career to work under Stephen Kenny. Yeah, it hasn't really worked well for Ireland, but I just feel like when Lennon knew what he was getting into when he took the job temporary. I didn't think John Kennedy would have been kept on with him when he won the treble.
Yeah.
And as you said, we backed him. We went out and spent the money in the transfer window, 15 million, and there's two players playing out of 5 or 6 players. It's not good enough.
We're playing Celtic's third keeper as our first keeper. That's how backwards we've went. Now, no disrespect to him, but it was our third keeper last year, and he's our first keeper this year.
He's just not confident. He had a good game in Lille. That was about it. It's absolutely shocking. It's shocking that we've got to the stage where we let Gordon go. Fair enough, Gordon wasn't playing. Gordon was a third keeper, or a second choice, a third keeper. You consider it depends what competition. And we let Gordon go to Hearts. He was willing to stay for the right deal, and he didn't get the deal. And then Fraser wasn't willing to take the 90 grand pay cut. I don't think Celtic were going to even cough up even near 60 grand if he was to take the pay cut to come to us.
I think they would have. I think the board backed Lennon tremendously this season. They did. COVID, you look at all across the continent, players had this value. Because of COVID, it's dropped down here now. And their spending has went down because the money's coming in is not as good as it was. So, the reality is the board has backed Lenny, and I don't know. For me personally, he should have walked a while ago. That's all. We all know that, and there's nothing else to say. We could keep chatting here every week in, week out.
It's going to get to that stage, and it just feels like we're going around the roundabout with it. And then on the roundabout, you're getting a loss, you're getting a draw, and I got absolutely ripped out during the week because I turned around. Well, actually, on Friday when I turned around and said, this is one of the worst, darkest times of being a Celtic fan. People were like, get a grip. I was like, look at the results. How can you change that? How can you change that? I goes, yes, we've won titles under Neil Lennon, we've won cups, but this time around, as we go back to the game almost a year ago, spells were there. Rangers bosses on the pitch. They should have won that game at Hampden.
People say, the best bit is people say, we are privileged, overprivileged, feel like we always entitled, we should win every trophy. It's not about winning every trophy. This is our performances has been dire. Out of 10 games, 2 wins, 3 draws and 5 losses? What manager survives that at any club? It's just not a personal attack on anyone. This is the manager's it's just not working.
Like if that was even Solskjaer wouldn't even survive a Man United that rate.
Did he do five losses in 10 games?
Don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it was less than that. And why? And that's in a league where you've got Man U, you've got Man City, you've got Liverpool, you've got Arsenal, you've got Tottenham, you've got a lot of big teams. This is a league where it's just Celtic and Rangers. That's it. But no disrespect to the other teams, they're not expected to win every game.
I just think Celtic I think Neil Lennon and his squad have taken these teams for granted this season. You might say, the fans are not the same, but look at it, for example, Rangers, they're playing better without the fans because they know that the pressure's not on them. All they need to do is go out and try win a game, and it's worked well for them.
Lenny is a good guy. Neil is he's a good guy. He's Celtic to the core. I believe he'll do the right thing this week. I believe he'll talk to the people that need to be talked to, and I believe he'll walk this week because you don't want to be in a place where you're to himself, to the team. He's not getting the best performance. Brendan Rodgers came in and turned Forrest around because he has that ability. It's just not working with Neil now and the players, and he might go on to great success at somewhere else, but right now at Celtic it's just all negativity, and he has to go.
That's it. He has to walk, and as I said, appreciate what he's done as a captain, as a player, as a coach. His first term at the club and winning the 3 trophies as well when he came back in. But it's time where he needs to just resign,
There's
do the fans a favour.
one thing I remember Neil saying when he left the first time. He says, and I feel like he plays with his heart rather than his head, and I think the board acted with their heart and not their head, because Neil said the last time he came in, and we've spoken about this, I can't take the club any further, and it's time for me to go. That's what he said. When he resigned, that's what the words came out of his mouth. Brendan Rodgers took our club to a different level. So unfortunately, when the board handed it back to someone who's already been completely honest and said, I can't take it any further, all that's going to happen is the club's going to fall back a bit in progress. And that's just a reality. And it's not Neil's fault if somebody, they've admitted that they've been honest, and that's a hard thing to do, is to be honest. And that's why I respect Neil, because he was honest and he said that. So for now, we're expecting him to take the club further. We're all complaining that the clubs went backwards, but he was honest when he first left. So we can't really blame him.
People are saying 10 in a row is gone now. I don't think 10 in a row is gone. I really don't think it's gone. I think people need to wake up and smell a coffee here. Like, we still have to play Rangers 3 times. We have games in hand. We're gonna have 3 games in hand when we play the cup final. It's just change the style of football around. That's the massive factor, and getting the right coaching is the right factor. I just feel that we shouldn't go Celtic related on disappointment. I just feel like people are saying Martin O'Neill. I wouldn't take Martin back out straight. Martin has his legacy, and that's what we're saying at the moment with Neil. If Neil doesn't step back, he's going to ruin his reputation at Celtic. What if Martin comes in and he doesn't deliver? What are we dealing with then?
But we have to do something, though. We're all agreed. He's not the manager right now that can actually progress this team. And yeah, 10 in a row has gone if nothing changes. If somebody comes in and performs miracles and turns the team around, then great. But the way the team's gone right now, there's no chance of 10 in a row. We all know that. We all agree that. We can't beat Ross County at home. The team's been awful for the last so many games. I mean, I don't even remember the last time we had a great game. I think it was 5-0. We beat Hamilton Accies or something. I don't remember the last game we played well. So
Aberdeen was the only game he played well this season, and that wasn't even at home. That was in Hampden. Like, it was a head scratcher this season for Celtic fans to say, "Oh, what game did we actually turn up? We played Hibs, beat them 3-0." Like, I know, fair enough, we didn't beat Hibs since January 2014, but we should have went to Easter Road. He knew what was at stake to getting this team back together. There was only one problem with international break with David Turnbull, but he knew what was at stake, especially playing against his old club. He should have went out with a point and smashed them. And Hibs are good, but we should have beaten them. And we had winners on that team.
I agree. I mean, the reality is we're not going to win the league the way the setup is. So unfortunately, I hope Neil does fantastic in his next job. He's still a legend. He's still a stalwart for the club. We're proud of him. We love him. But he needs to you're better to walk than be pushed. And that's what's kind of needed right now. But, the scenes tonight were out of order. There's people in that club that were working there that don't deserve to feel the fear that they felt, and I get people's frustrations. We're all frustrated, but we've got to remember the times we live in as well.
I know, and people are not realise there is a pandemic as well on our hands, and obviously Glasgow being in tier 4 at the moment, and they're moaning saying we want to get the fans back into the stadium. We won't get the fans back in the stadium, even with the results or not. We won't get them back in if this stuff keeps carrying on. Like, front page news from that Celtic fans are going crazy. Like, what's next? What's the next step? Are they going to go up to Lennoxtown, try and break into Lennoxtown? Is it going to be that stage? Like,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, Celtic should have responded prior, and they should have responded better. I mean, the international break was the best time they could have replaced them, and he should have walked before. We keep losing points when the 10's going. Mathematically, it doesn't matter if you believe or not believe. I just can't see Rangers dropping points. Who's going to take points off the Rangers in Scotland? Who?
They've only dropped points against Livingston this season, so it's tough. And as I said, to give it to Gerrard and give it to that team that they're hungrier, and they proved it. They proved it. They proved it. Like they even go in fifth gear against Celtic, and they were a better team on the day in September in Celtic Park. That just shows that the level has dropped on Neil Lennon. He can't get the players up for a Glasgow derby. You know, it's the
I
first
remember,
derby of the season. You should be going out and beating them, regardless fans or not in the stadium. You should be going out and beating them.
you know, an ex-Celtic player, I'm not naming names, older generation said to me, you know, they'd like to see Neil with a suit on, making an effort, showing the players that each game is important. You know, I know that sounds silly, but it's that old school kind of mentality.
He's only ever wore a suit twice on the sidelines, and that was against Juventus away, and the last game when we won 3 in a row with him. That's the last time. Three times he's wore suits on the sidelines.
I know, no, we don't. We want the team to perform well, so we don't. You know, it's not about the suits, but it would even give a wee shock to the players that he takes something seriously. You know, it's just small wee things. I'm not here.
He just looks like he just looks like he's always hungover and he's having the fear the next day, going out putting that team out on the pitch. That's what it looks like.
Honestly, anyway. Listen,
I'll let you go.
You better go. But listen,
well, hopefully this time next week we'll be in more of a positive vibe, and yeah, just a quick one for you. Would you, if Rangers were going through this type of crisis, would you go onto their YouTube pages and look at what they're going through? I certainly wouldn't. I won't lower myself to that level.
Well, it's always great to see them in pain.
Yeah, but like going on, like the amount of going on, and like
the two things. But I know there's, you know, I mean, listen, tonight's scenes at Park Edward, obviously, you know, not good at all. But for the fact that they are sitting there, you know, and telling how it's just irony in it. It's like, I don't know if they remember Blackpool at all or not, but anyway.
It's like Manchester for them, you
know. I mean Manchester for a second.
God, Jesus, as I said, like that's the level where Celtic actually went, brought 90,000 fans to Seville, and didn't cause any clean-up mess, any arrests, won awards, you know. But we'll get there. And
Blackpool recently, when they were trying to get down to dodge the COVID, and all the Blackpool residents didn't want them to come down. There's a reason they didn't want to come down, if you remember, but. Because they were getting on about the COVID and how, you know, it's ridiculous how there's people out. And yet they wanted to jump the tier and head down there for the game. But anyway, listen, all the best to you.
Hopefully, take care. We'll catch you up in a few weeks' time. Hopefully, we'll have a chat before the cup final. If we're in good form with them. If we're in good form, that's the if. Like, and that's one thing I want to talk about before he goes. Every time he asks us, can we go out and do it? It's just like he has a possibility. He's not playing and say, yeah, we're going to go out and show for the fans. I think he's, after that banner the other day, he has lost a lot of respect from the fans. I know the Green Brigade obviously voiced their opinion, and as more fans have jumped on it.
Well, but they always say, "Oh, the Green Brigade, it's a disgrace or a disgrace. It's just a few fans." It isn't a few fans. I'm not part of the Green Brigade, and I feel exactly the same. So you know, it isn't just the Green Brigade. I think after tonight, that was the last straw for a lot of folk. So. See what happens.
That's it.
All the best, pal.
Take care of yourself and I'll see you soon. All the best. Cheers. So that's it, folks. I'm going to leave it there. As I said, I appreciate who watched tonight. Obviously, there's a lot of other supporters from different clubs watching, but you know what? I don't mind. You keep viewing it up. I don't mind. It gets me out more. I'm confident Celtic will come back. Not under Neil Lennon. A new manager will come in. It's just a matter of time. The board will have to react soon because it's just a case that it's an absolute disaster. It's a disaster. But I've had 9 great years, you know. Some great years and some great games, going to other stadiums and smashing teams 5-1 and winning the league in Celtic Park and James Forrest scoring and PC Lustig having a laugh, stuff like that. You know, some great times. And yeah, that's it. You know. I'm not ashamed of my club. I'm not ashamed of the fans. I'm just disappointed in the manager, disappointed in the setup of the coaching, and it'll be time. Change will happen. Change will happen and they'll bounce back. You may think, some fans may not think it's, oh, that's a long shot away, but all Celtic need to do as a club, the team need to go out and win every game as they can. Take every game as it comes for the next, whatever's in front of us. St Johnstone on Sunday, and then we have Kilmarnock as well. I wouldn't consider the Europa League a straight Europa League. Is nothing to, if you go out and get pumped in Europa League, that's it. Like, it doesn't really matter to me, because the European football shouldn't be planned this season anyway, as much as financial it is. Okay, you enjoy being in the Europa League, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. As I said, I don't concentrate on the Europa. You know, that's it. Farmers temporary, liquidation's permanent. You know, but I'm not here to discuss other teams and how they're doing well or they're not doing well. We're here to talk about the current champions, Celtic, 9 in a row champions, you know, the treble champions, you know. So yeah, who cares about the Europa League? Don't need the Europa League. Europa League is a trophy where it's very hard to win it because the amount of rounds in it, some really good teams in it. But sure, we done well last season, and that's the main thing. Like, you know, we'll see. You know, I have the faith that Celtic will turn it back and win, but not under Neil Lennon, a new manager. A new self. So good night. I appreciate you all watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. I'll probably be back on during the week, see what happens the next couple of days, how everything unfolds. But yeah, take care. All the best.